Hey there, beautiful earth angels. Elvia Rowe here, founder of angelsteach.com, and thank you for joining me here for another Messages with the Angels for the month of March 2022. It's a little different this month, and I really want to not lose sight of that, to really actually bring that into focus. So much going on in the world, and of course a lot of focus on the whole Ukraine crisis and all that surrounds that. There's also flooding in Australia, there's tension in Asia, there's a lot of divide within the United States, and Canada's had its thing. This just like everywhere there is a lot of tension. And there is a lot of cause to pull away from faith. And that's really where I want to focus us all here today. I am admittedly tired for a lot of reasons. We were in Florida and drove back over the weekend, so still catching up from that. But more to the point, I think it's not just fatigue, it's also deep sadness for what's happening in the world, and connecting with our children when we got back. They're really having a hard time with it. Our daughter said she was up for 3 days live streaming what is going on in the Ukraine with her close friend down there. And our son, has been feeling so sensitive, feeling things as well. And, it's just a lot. And, especially for me as a mama, things start to affect my babies, and I'm like, which is actually, so much about honoring the sadness, the feelings, the emotions, all of that. And as I was lying in bed this morning, not really wanting to get up, I admit it, I was having a long chat with God, and I just said, send me the inspiration, give me the faith. And then as I started really thinking about it, I was realizing that all of this has caused my faith to waver. And that's the core of my own inner lack of resolve, for lack of a better word. It really feels like my resolve has been wavering. And as I started to realize that, I started to feel my core awaken, and really find myself in this space of, you are not going to take my faith away. Like, you can do all kinds of things in my world, but you are not going to take away my faith. And it started to come back. It started to wake up. I mean, it's not like it ever went anywhere. It just became a little quiet, a little dormant, a little less front and center. And so I wanted to share that because, a lot of times I think we light workers like to show up and let's find the joy in this, which is, it's always good to find things to be grateful for, to focus on the joy and all of that. And there are also times to just honor, this is where we're at right now, and it's okay. And to fight for that which is worth fighting for, which for me is faith, is love, is the strong belief that love always wins. And we can certainly point to a lot of things right now. And, some of you may be doing that and saying, but that's not love. And that's when we have to go deeper into the resolve of, I believe love is the only thing that's real, and it's the only thing that's going to get us through this. The Dalai Lama posted something within the last few days about how, the last century was so focused on the wars, and the violence, the physical expression of conflict. And his point was, let's make this century about dialogue, you know, about talking, about being real, and he was admitting to his own sadness. So I encourage that, you know, as you have reactions, as you have comments to this video, please do share. I love to keep the dialogue going. I think it's important to keep the dialogue going. I think it's really important to be digging into community, especially right now, and honoring your need to rest, your need to just be sort of with how you're feeling right now. So, with all of that as a preamble to our video messages for this month, the intention for these 3 different things that I'm going to share with you are, you know, what is it that you need most in this moment to navigate these rather stormy waters? You know, what is it that your angels are guiding you to? And I will say this is going to be something that you may want to come back to as you feel guided, because it's going to change. I know that the answer that would have come forward yesterday for me is very different from the answer that's come forward for me today with respect to these messages. So what you need one moment may be different from what you need either, you know, this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, a few days from now, whatever. You get the message. So number 1, number 2, or number 3, which one has what you need right now? So for those of you who chose number 1, this is your message. It is the beautiful ocean, the Atlantic Ocean in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this is really a message about just being. And, you know, if you chose this, there's probably this inner conflict going on. And I know I've had this myself, where I want to do something, I want to help, I want to serve, I want to be present. What is it that I need to do? And this, if you chose number 1, is about just being. This is a message about patience. This is a message about needing rest and remembering, really knowing, really trusting that you will get your turn, you know, that you're really in this space of recuperating, of recovering. I was so in this space yesterday, believe me. And I know there's more of this on my horizon, but it's really important because we can't show up and be there for other people if we're depleted and if we're, it's not our turn. So it will be your turn, but it's not your turn right now. And as I was thinking a little further about this message, there's a really big difference between waiting and just aligning with divine timing and being paralyzed and frozen in place. And this is validation that you are not paralyzed and frozen in place. You are simply waiting for divine timing. And right now is your opportunity to rest and to store up those reserves for when it is your turn. And by the way, I did want to share that I'm going to put this clip of the ocean with full sound at the end of this video, so you guys who want to just kind of zone out and listen to the ocean, it's all yours, because it is medicine for sure. Okay, so for you number 2 people, this is what's come forward for you. This is a beautiful setting in Savannah, Georgia. We stopped there on our way down to Florida for a couple of nights, and I just love Savannah. I want to go back there. In fact, we're talking about spending a bit of time there next year. But anyway, the message here is about it is time for your light to shine. It is time for you to ask your angels, how can I show up and be the light today? And frankly, an example of this, it doesn't really matter, if you're pulling this particular message, it doesn't really matter necessarily how you're feeling about yourself. For example, I'm really tired. I feel like I don't look my best. All of that stuff doesn't matter. If this is the message is coming forward for you, which it did for me this morning, it's your call to none of that other shit, frankly, that goes on in our heads matters. What matters is that you are being called to be a light in the world. And it could be just for one person, it could be for a whole flock, doesn't matter. Who is it that you're here to be a light for? And if this has come forward for you, this is your, I'm hearing shove, push, to get out there and be that light. And you'll see that there's so much beauty in the darkness here. And there is a secondary message about focusing on the beauty and what really kind of ignites your heart, and making sure that you're tending to those things as best you can. But this is a message about action. This is a message about getting out there and being the light. And it may even be for just like 5 minutes, or it may be for an extended period of time. You and your angels will know the answer to that. But this is an invitation, a call to action for you to get out there and serve, be the light. Okay, so for you folks who chose number 3, this is your message. And before you want to run and hide from this little guy, let me tell you that, well, first of all, he's not really that little. And second of all, he's totally harmless. This is an iguana friend that hung out on the property that we rented in Fort Lauderdale. And he actually has a whole ton of friends. I counted, I think, 10 or 11 on the property at one time. And when we first arrived and they came out in the late morning, I was creeped out. I was kind of like, well, these are really fascinated, and I don't want to get too close. They're kind of creepy looking. And then as we got to know them, I realized how harmless they are, and actually how enchanting and endearing they are. They totally won me over. I can't even tell you how many pictures and videos that I sent to friends and family, and just love my iguanas now. And, so this is a message really about focusing on what you know. And this is actually a really big message right now. It's kind of cute with the iguana things, but the message and the core of it is actually really, really important, because there's so many assumptions about what is going on in the world, about what's going on in other people's lives, maybe even about what's going on in your own life. And this is a message about letting go of assumptions. And there's so much a part of our lives that, I think sometimes we don't even know that they're there. But the news, what's coming on social media, what's coming out of other people's mouths, all of it. Focus on what you know, and only on what you know. And I mean like really know, not what some in the past trusted news agency has told you, not what, and they may very well be right. This isn't bashing any news agency. This is about making sure that you stay very present with what you know in your heart, really focusing on your heart as your compass, as your guide, as your truth. And again, I want to be clear. This isn't about, bashing any particular news agency. This is about just recognizing that assumptions are a huge part of our lives. And we can have somebody that we have loved all of our lives telling us something that's like, you've got to believe this, and point to things that make it fact. But do you know that it's fact? This is a time to be very, very discerning. Do you know that it's fact? Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. So make sure that what you're putting all of that I know energy into what you really know. Because assumptions, I think, are very, very destructive and can be. So, yeah. I'm just asking the angels if there's anything else they want me to say, and they're saying yes. So let me just tune into that for a minute. Okay, so the corollary to this is that it's very important to have an ear to the ground of what is going on in the world, right? We can't have our heads in the sand completely. And we also need to protect our energy. So the corollary to this is making sure that you're protecting your energy. When I heard that our daughter was live streaming a lot of live feeds with social media, what's going on in Ukraine, I just immediately was like, no, because it just energetically feels so like an assault to me, my energy. And obviously it is an assault to the people that it's happening to. But, we don't, what's the purpose in our feeling that? Again, we cannot have our heads in the sand. That's, we have to be serving in the way that we're being called to serve. But what does that look like for you? What does that mean for you? What do you need to know? What do you not need to know? And that's the corollary to this. What do you need to know? And what do you not need to know? So much of this is about following guidance. In fact, I would say all of it is about following guidance. And I've been using a lot of muscle testing, me doing more with helping people to really connect with muscle testing. And how do you know what your guidance is with so much distraction in the world? We're going to be doing a lot in that in this spring. So stay tuned for that. But, I'm rambling here. Apologies. I am tired and wanted to make sure that I did what the angels were asking me to do, which is to show up and share with you and just let you know that I'm with you. I'm praying next to you. I am virtually holding your hand. We are joined heart to heart in prayer for humanity, for the planet, for all of life and love. So let us pause for a minute, and I'm going to not do my usual wrap up here, but just cue the ocean music and just stay here holding that energy with you for healing, for love, for grace. And with that, so much love to you. Be well.